I'm joined by the former director of ISRO in Bengaluru, Mr. Venkateshwara Sharma, with me here. And sir, ISRO has achieved a milestone by launching its 100th satellite, a navigational satellite. So since 1969, can you just give us the highlights about the journey of this premier science and space research and development agency?
Yeah. See, you have asked a very broad question, but I will try to answer you as sharp as possible. Of course, in 1969, ISRO started in a very humble way, and the first rocket were sounding rockets launched from Tumba to Thiruvananthapuram. And then the rocket program started, of course, in Trivandrum. It started with SLV, and then it came to ASLV, then PSLV and GSLV. Now, then we have now the Mark III. That is the fifth generation satellite. Fifth generation rocket is what is being done now. And today, what we have seen, the rocket GSLV, G15, F15, GSLV F15 is the fourth generation rocket, and it's a cryogenic engine. This is the background of rockets that has been developed. The milestone today is the 100th launch of the rocket. Okay, when you talk about 100th launch, then what is this 100 number? If you see, there had been 62 PSLV launch. So I told about Polar Sun Synchronous Launch Vehicle, which is the workhorse of ISRO for all the low Earth orbits. 62 launch rockets have been launched so far. Then we have the GSLV, which today F15 was there, which launched the navigation satellite. 15 satellites have been, 15 rockets have been launched. Therefore, 16 plus 62 plus 15, it comes to 77. Then we have Mark III launch vehicle, which is the 4-ton capability launch vehicle, which can take 4 tons to geosynchronous transfer orbit. And today, the rocket it launched, it can take 2,200 tons to geosynchronous transfer orbit. Therefore, we have 7 of them. So then we have SLV, then we have ASLV, then we have small satellite launch vehicle. Like this, the number of rockets that ISRO has launched so far today is 100 numbers. It is really a milestone, and the entire country has to be proud of. And the compliments and congratulations to this entire country for believing in ISRO and giving this opportunity for ISRO to do the activity.
So for now, coming to the satellite that has been launched. So here, everybody knows it as a navigational satellite. So how is it going to, how is that going to be a change, like from the GPS to the INSS? So how is that? Can you specify some features about this particular satellite that has been launched as the 100th one from ISRO?
Yeah, specifically, the satellite which has been launched today is the second generation navigation satellite. Just to recall, we have what is called as IRNSS, that is Indian Navigation Satellite System, Regional Navigation Satellite System, to cover the India and 1,500 kilometers across the, out of the Indian territory. That is the capability of these satellites. Of course, the satellites are not really limited by 1,500 kilometers. From a geopolitical point of view, the coverage is limited to Indian, landmass plus 1,500 kilometers, the coverage. So the main application of these, navigation satellites are for the navigation purposes, then the timing purposes, and then the messaging and specifically the strategic application, which probably I wouldn't like to elaborate, but it is going to be something which is equivalent to or better than GPS for our own navigational, regional navigational, which we don't have to depend on any other country for our own navigation purposes or position accuracy purposes or timing accuracy purposes, or connecting. The most important thing is connecting land, sea and the air through our own navigation network in terms of crisis, etc., is really, really important. This is the broader perspective of the navigation system. While we have talked about the first generation, where we launched 7 satellites and 3 replacement satellites. totally 10 satellites were launched as part of IRNSS, Series 1, what we call it as the Series 1 satellite, Gen 1 satellites. And out of that, we have only 3 satellites left, which are in service, which could be used for navigation purposes. Therefore, it is necessary for the country to launch the second series of navigation satellites. Therefore, 5 satellites are being contemplated and 5 satellites are being planned to be launched. Already one has been launched in 2023, and this is the second set in the navigation series. The main features of this navigation satellite is it has L1, L5 and the S-band communication capability, which is very, very unique and very, precise. Positioning can be done. Even it could be better than in the GPS in many places. And that type of capability is absolutely essential for this country to be self-reliant and self-sufficient, and also ensure that the country is safe in our own hands is something which is really important for these navigation satellites to be contemplated and done. And remaining 3 satellites have to be launched probably in 2025 and 2026. Those 3 satellites will also be contemplated upon, and fabrications are already in the going on, and they will also be launched. Once they are launched, the full-fledged regional navigation system will be up and running, and it will be really a great boon for this country to have such a type of system in space.
Okay. Sir, now coming to the ISRO's journey, do you think that more of the investment and the infrastructure development is more towards the latter part of ISRO than the earlier part? Like when you compare the decades of 60s and 70s or 80s, and then when you compare 90s, 20s, and later part. How do you see that? Like, what is the change? What is the shift? Where has the change become significant and more?
If you see the visionaries of ISRO, the forefathers of ISRO, or the founding fathers of ISRO, somebody like Vikram Sarabhai, or somebody like Satish Dhawan, somebody like Professor U.R. Rao. They are the really visionary leaders, and right from the day they started in actually 62, but it started in Mumbai. TIA for Mumbai as part of the nuclear research, the space research also started. But 1969 we mark it because that is the time when the land was acquired in Trivandrum and the full-fledged space activity started. But the forefathers and the founding fathers were so visionary that the involvement of industry was there right from 60s, 70s, and 80s. Even though the rocket fabrication center started in Trivandrum, if you see, the headquarters of ISRO is in Bangalore, and headquarters of ISRO is in Bangalore, and the satellite center, the major fabrication of satellites, which are important for every rocket launch, is done in Bangalore. Keeping in mind, we have BEL, we have BHEL, we have many other public sectors and private sectors, and such type of industrial interface is there. Requirements are there. Therefore, the unit which was started in Trivandrum was expanded to Bangalore, and full-fledged fabrication of the satellites were initiated. Therefore, from 1960s, 70s, 80s on, the industry interface had been good. However, if you see during 1970s, when we launched 1975 Aryabhatta satellite, that was the first communication satellite which was launched. And then on we have remote sensing satellite, IRS satellites, and then we have, of course, the communication satellites and the Earth observation satellites. We were launching about 1 to 2 satellites in a decade. That is, if you see 1970s, we were able to launch only 1 to 2 satellites. In 1980s, if you see, we were approximately able to launch 1 satellite per year. In 1990s, if you see, we were able to make 2 to 3 satellites per year. But if you see 2000, we were able to make 7 to 8 satellites. In 2010, the scale has increased, and we were able to make 6 to 7 satellites per year. And 2020, if you see, 8 to 10 satellites, ISRO is able to make. Therefore, these 100 rockets, whatever has launched, we should also remember that it has launched more than 550 satellites And even the 104 satellites were launched by one of the PSLV. That is also a record. So the number of satellites what is being launched by these rockets are really phenomenal, and it is really something which the country should be proud of and the world is looking at. Technology is power and the space is the power, and more often than not, ISRO and the country has demonstrated that we have the technology and technology is the power and we have the power is what is, what has been demonstrated. This is the confidence that the young generation, the children of this country who are budding children have to pick up and then take it forward to the next level.
So now, can you just give your comments on the future projects such as the Chandrayaan, the Venus orbiting, mission, the Bharatiya Antariksha Station by 2030? So, like about that.
I was saying that the founding fathers were visionaries and they really did extremely well by connecting with industries, etc. Even if you see our present generation rockets, such as PSLV, and that is Polar Sun Synchronous Launch Vehicle, the GSLV, Geosynchronous Launch Vehicle, the LVM3, heavy lift vehicle, and then the present small satellite launch vehicle, they are all being done by industries. There are more than 400 industries which are working with ISRO, minor, major, and small scale, medium scale, large scale industries. Who name it, we have it type of thing. They're supporting, and the industries are supporting extremely well. That's what therefore the industry growth is extremely high connected with ISRO, and they're basically their quality level also improves, and their thinking, the culture of doing business also has improved over the period of time, is something which we have to make a specific note of. Even the present GSLV and the NavIC satellites, whatever has been launched now today, NavIC 02, has also got a major industry share. Apart from this, we can also see during this decade, past decade, we can see that there is a shift in the space arena. That is, there is space policy which has been which has been firmed up, and there are a lot of industries which are in the sense the startups, the academia startups, etc., have been encouraged. And there are more than 250 successful space startups in this country. Therefore, keeping all this in mind, ISRO is marching forward. And what is the future? If you see, there are sky is the limit. Maybe sky and beyond is the limit, what I should say. The startups are working very hard and they are contributing extremely well along with the ISRO in terms of debris clearance, which is a concern now. Because number of satellites which is being launched by every country is increasing and the debris is increasing. Therefore, the clearance of debris, what is called as situational awareness, is something which is major activity which the entire space community is working on. Plus, the ISRO is also into it. This is number one. Number two, if you see the Chandrayaan, we have seen the successful Chandrayaan 1, where we were the first in the world to find the water in 2008, 2009, and we were in 2014. We were the first country, the first attempt to go to Mars in just 400 to 450 crores budget, and we traveled at an incredible speed of 40,000 kilometers per hour, and we were the first country to do it, and that is a pride for this country. And recently, 2024, we landed on Moon. It's the South Pole, where nobody else had ever landed, and we explored and we landed for the first time in the world, and we still remain the first world. The continuum of that is that ISRO will be planning for Chandrayaan 4, where it has to it has to land on the moon, get the samples and bring the samples back to Earth, where you had seen about a month back, we had the docking experiment where the satellites have to dock, and then it has to land on the moon, collect samples and come back, is something which is being planned. And then we have the Mars mission, Mars mission 2, where it is going to be again something like landing on Mars is there, and the Venus mission is being talked about, because Venus is the closest planet to the Earth now, and the Venus exploration of Venus mission is also being talked about. And while these are all the scientific missions, there are continual requirements for the communication communication satellites, your TV, broadcasting, your mobile network, etc., the improved mobile networking, your communication requirements, the continuum satellites are being launched. That is where we have the heavy lift vehicle is coming into picture, where we will be able to launch more than 10 tons of payload into geostationary orbit is something which ISRO is contemplating upon. Recently, we've also seen government has approved the third launch pad, where we have nearly 4,000 crores of budget, and 4-year time has been given, where please remember we are talking about 1,000 tons of the rocket weight and 100-meter tall. 100-meter tall is something like 350 feet. It's about a 40-story building, you can imagine. That's the type of rocket launch which is being contemplated on. These are all the futures which are being talked about. Even the present launch, whatever we saw, GSLV, whatever launch has happened, if you had seen, the rocket is 50 meters. That's about 15 to 16 story building and weighs about 450 tons. So the journey is long. Journey has started and going on and on and on. And journey is long. And immediate target also will be for ISRO to have Gaganyaan, where we already had one or two uncrewed mission like pad abort test, etc. But the actual the Gaganyaan mission without humans, with minuscules, has to be flown probably in 2025. 1 or 2 missions will be there. 3 successful mission has to happen before the actual man is moved into the space of 405 kilometer orbit. Therefore, the journey is on, and ISRO is doing good, and I expect that by 2026 to 2027, ISRO will be able to take 3 astronauts to space. So this is the roadmap. As I said, ISRO always keeps working on not one project; it keeps working on 8 to 10 projects parallelly. You had seen, while we were landing on Chandrayaan 3 landing in Moon, in August 23rd, 24th, we went to Sun also. We did the Suryayaan in the first week of September. So that's how the continuum of project will be there, and 10 to 12 projects simultaneously ISRO will be working. Therefore, a month launch and a month in achievement is not something which is impossible.
So thank you so much for sharing that with us. So that was former director of ISRO, Venkateshwara Sharma, talking about the journey of ISRO from 1969 onwards until the 100th satellite that it launched today. With camera person Venkatesh Perumal, this is Billy Thomas for NewsX, Bengaluru.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.